Hi, my name is Andrew Schmidt. Today I'm going to give you a brief introduction to the United States National Water Safety Action Plan. As for my background, I'm an associate professor of emergency medicine at University of Florida College of Medicine in Jacksonville, Florida. I'm also co-founder of Lifeguards Without Borders and active with the International Drowning Researchers Alliance, Surfing Medicine International, and I'm the medical director for Jacksonville Beach Ocean Rescue. I was also involved with the development of the Water Safety Action Plan on the CPR and Rescue Subcommittee. So before we get into the details of the National Water Safety Action Plan, let's talk quickly about why we need something like this. So despite all of our research efforts and our education and everything that we've gained in science, especially in the public health forum, we still have a long way to go with drowning. We still have about 4,000 people a year dying from drowning in the U.S., and in many states it's the leading cause of injury death in 1 to 4-year-olds and very small children. So we haven't really still figured out how to solve that portion of it. And then when we take a step past that, we haven't figured out a great way to track these problems. So there's so many different factors that we need to improve in terms of prevention, whether it be education or flotation devices or public health campaigns or just getting the information out there. But then on the back end, there's also a lot of big shortcomings that we have in terms of how do we collect the right data and actually portray the correct numbers for what's going on in the community. In this quick presentation, we're going to briefly discuss the background, goals, timing, and outcomes expected of the National Water Safety Action Plan. So what is the National Water Safety Action Plan? Well, it's a response to the call from the World Health Organization to have some sort of plan in place to focus efforts and resources and campaigns on preventing drowning within your country. So this action plan is going to be a strategic, evidence-informed plan created by experts in drowning prevention and informed by water safety stakeholders and practitioners from across the country, aimed at preventing drowning in the United States. It's going to be a model-based plan focusing on providing guidance on what a model water safety community, county, and state should look like, as well as identifying national-level activities that guide and support sub-national efforts. So the vision for the National Water Safety Action Plan is a United States where everyone is safe in, on, and around the water. To develop the outputs for this plan, a large group of content experts and stakeholders from across the water safety and drowning prevention spectrum were brought together a few years ago and divided into 6 different subcommittees focused on different focus areas of the campaign. And their work and the outcomes from this work are all going to be aimed at the primary goal of preventing drowning in the U.S. through evidence-informed action. Also transforming the country into a nation where water safety is a natural part of everyday life and people enjoy the benefits of water. So how is this going to happen? Well, as I mentioned before, there are 6 primary focus areas brought about in the initial planning of this campaign. There are data and public health surveillance, life jackets and PFDs, supervision and lifeguarding, pool fencing and other barriers, rescue and CPR, and water safety and water competency, to include swim lessons. Each of these focus groups met to identify focus areas, analyze the available evidence, and develop recommendations specific to their focus. In terms of timing, up to now the campaign has developed over the past 2 years. This was initially done through large virtual meetings with all stakeholders. This large group was then broken off into the 6 subcommittees, and they all continued to meet virtually and discuss their different topics, discuss their focus areas, discuss the evidence, and send out tasks to their members to come back with final recommendations. The overall plan is a 10-year plan and will be monitored every 5 years. Here's where we are in the general timing of the Water Safety Action Plan. Stage 1, which already happened about 2 years ago, was to develop a steering committee, establish the scope, and select a framework that supports both the development and implementation of this plan. Stage 2, we established multi-sectoral working groups to engage with stakeholders and draft recommendations and identify important actions and gaps for the plan. Step 3 was to build consensus around recommendations among the water safety community, stakeholders, and practitioners, and convene high-level expert blue ribbon panel to finalize the plan. And that's pretty much where we are today. The next step of the phase, which will be in the next coming weeks, is to launch and implement the Water Safety Action Plan through sustainable media dissemination, presentations like this, and advocacy efforts, while gathering necessary data to monitor the progress of the plan nationwide. So that's where we are today, and the final launch is actually very soon. It's going to be on June 29th, 2023. So I've discussed a little bit about the background of the plan and how it worked, but what are we getting out of it? Well, in terms of the outcomes, the first will be 99 action recommendations, and these are all specific to the 6 focus groups that I mentioned before. The majority of these action plans are policy and legislative actions, and they're focused on modifying organizational and individual behaviors. Additionally, there will be a collection of national-level actions to support uptake and implementation of these recommendations at the state, county, and community levels. These include recommendations for developing a national drowning surveillance program, national minimum standards for water competency education, coordinated public awareness campaigns, advocacy toolkits, and model laws. And of course, there'll be more to come. In the future, we'll be developing a glossary of terms to be utilized in drowning campaigns and research, a new website which is being developed through funding from the CDC, also an implementation database to help track the outcomes of this campaign, and a research agenda to meet any unmet research needs. For more information, as well as the outputs from this campaign, you can visit the website, which is going to launch on June 29th, and that is watersafetyplan.us. In the meantime, if you'd like some more background information, as well as to view some recent webinars explaining more about this plan, you can go to watersafetyusa.org.